altcoins are not following Bitcoin at the moment in terms of the bull runs.
Obviously, uncertainty in the market, inflation, of course, has been an issue. Elections around the world has been an issue.
Trust me, this is a recipe for disaster. You're going down the wrong road, okay?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Hola Prime podcast. Today, we're going down the route of crypto and everything to do with crypto. So for all you guys out there who like to trade crypto, this is the podcast for you. I'm joined once again by Michael, who the viewers are already familiar with. And we have a crypto expert, Paul, who's joining us today to give us, all the details about cryptocurrency. So this one should be a fun one. Michael, Paul, thank you guys for joining again. How are you both doing?
Thanks
Very
for
good.
having me
Pleasure to
back.
be here.
Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Good to hear. Good to hear. Now, for the viewers, obviously you know who Michael is, but if this is the first time you're ever watching one of our podcasts, then we'll give you a quick rundown. So, Michael, would you like to tell the viewers a little bit about your background and, who you are, basically?
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, again, I'm Mike, known online as FXD Neto. I've been trading for just over a decade. Majority of those years failing. But for the past 3.5, 4 years, I've been successful and I've stayed consistently profitable. Full-time trader, trading coach at WB Trading. Have my own fund as well while I'm teaching some other students and running my own fund. And yeah, living a beautiful life here in Mexico now.
Beautiful. Mexico as well. Oh, I'm jealous now. And Paul, introduce yourself to the viewers.
I'm a trader, the same. Took a long while to get there. Had suffered the trader tuition like everybody else, made lots of mistakes. Had a great mentor. Got in just before the pandemic. I'm a teacher by trade. So now I've become a professional trader and I don't need to do a 9 to 5. I try to combine my passion for teaching to help other students as well. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, getting everyone prepped for the bull run to make sure they're not making any silly mistakes and making as much money as they can.
Sounds amazing. A teacher by trade as well. So this is perfect for you essentially.
Absolutely.
Did mention about the bull run there. I'm assuming then you feel that in the crypto market, the bull run is probably not over and it's going to continue, or is it like pause for a bit? Are you expecting it to keep climbing?
January historically hasn't been a great month. And obviously each bull cycle is different because as Bitcoin gains in market cap, it becomes, you get less percentage gains each cycle. But the same, of course, is not for the rest of the altcoin market. So we've got this Bitcoin 4 year cycle, which we know due to the halving and basic supply and demand dynamics means that when miners are getting less reward, that essentially means that supply is halving. And if presuming, of course, demand stays the same or is increasing, which we know it is with ETFs and mainstream approach, you have, of course, the price action going up every 4 years, like clockwork. Now, Bitcoin's been doing this since October 2013, and we expect it to continue. However, we are, of course, when it starts and when it finishes is determined by what's going on in the world. Because, the more mainstream it gets, the more effective it is, affected by issues with inflation and all kinds of, crazy things happening with the dollar and all that kind of stuff. So it's not a hard and fast rule. But what we do know is historically, um, and with certain patterns, we have many more percentage points to go before we finish the bull run. The question is, of course, Bitcoin's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is doing what it's supposed to, but the rest of the market isn't.
Mm,
And that's the problem at the moment.
very interesting. Very interesting. So, um, correct me if I'm wrong. And for the viewers, I'm not too versed in cryptocurrencies. I'll be the first to hold my hands up here. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Altcoins are not following Bitcoin at the moment in terms of the bull run. So they're because usually traditionally altcoins, if Bitcoin went up, they went up. It was quite they were almost pegged, right? Um, you're seeing that now, that correlation not occurring. Is that correct me if I'm wrong? Is that what you're saying?
altcoins, like when Bitcoin headed towards all-time highs and then broke them from
Yeah.
October 2023 to March 2024, the market did, as you said, followed Bitcoin. However, now, since March, most of those altcoins have reset and they've gone back, or rather, the gains are nowhere near as they should be in correlation to what Bitcoin has done.
Sure.
Now, that's because obviously uncertainty in the market, inflation, of course, has been an issue, elections around the world has been an issue. But there's another thing which many traders don't think to look at, and that's the money flow. So Bitcoin is king, essentially, and Bitcoin will determine whether all of the other altcoins, including Ethereum, move in the right direction. So if Bitcoin's going up, and then the money flow, the proportion of money in Bitcoin versus the rest of the market goes down, then altcoins will move because you've got a bullish context for Bitcoin, and then people are then taking their profits from each leg up and investing it in altcoins, looking to get better gains because they have a smaller market cap and then can, and so forth. And it kind of trickles down from the top 10 to the top 100 to the top 1000 to, and then all the main coins start going, and everyone makes loads of money, or they don't because they forget to get out. But what we've seen at the moment, Bitcoin dominance, the proportion of money in the market between Bitcoin and crypto, has not yet properly entered a downtrend, which has been the starting gun for the previous bull runs for altcoins. Where, I mean, last cycle BNB put in about 20,000% profits, and I was lucky enough to get in when it was about $7 or $11 or whatever, and then ride it all the way up. That hasn't happened yet. But when it does, that's when the altcoin market will go, because the money will just cascade. People will see it and then they'll follow it, and that's the bull run. The problem is, of course, that and so historically, you have the halving, which is around March or April every 4 years, and then all the previous cycles, 240 days after the halving event, typically Bitcoin dominance has broken down, which it's begun to, and then the money has flowed in. But the problem is, you guys know this, right? The second you see a pattern and it's obvious,
Yeah.
right? And that's kind of the situation we're in at the moment, and that's why the market is hesitant. So we're just waiting for more signals.
Okay, very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I mean that's kind of actually the way you explained that, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, very thorough example.
Yeah, I'm still processing it. There's a bit of a lag in my head.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a lot of information
yeah,
for traders to take on board. And when half the crypto market, as you guys know, it's like most of it is hype based. You look
sure.
on YouTube and it's like we're all going, but no one pays attention to the TA, no one pays attention to what the market is actually doing, and no one even thinks to tune into like the Fed meeting minutes,
Yeah.
and in the United States, because if the dollar is going up,
Hmm.
then traditionally high risk assets don't get any love. And well, they're not getting any love because
Yeah.
the dollar is going up. And it's not complicated. I mean, it's just
No,
wait
absolutely.
for the conditions and then the market will go, essentially.
Absolutely. So would you call yourself more of a long-term investor in cryptocurrency rather than a day trader?
I started off with long-term investments.
Hmm.
I think anybody, if they get in at the right position, can just make some money. It's basic market cycle dynamics. Don't buy when it's at the top, buy when it's on the bottom, and you can make money if you do it at the right time. But I do short-term day trades and leverage trading, which is a completely different style.
Yeah.
It's a very good way of leveling up your capital, because if you compound profits, you can turn $100 into, well, 6,000 quite quickly. I mean, it sounds crazy, right? $100 to 6,000. But
Insane.
um, I set myself a 10 trade challenge, which I set some of my students. And let me just make it clear, I
Mm.
haven't replicated this.
Okay.
So there's no godlike thing coming here. But the idea was to have 10 leverage trades in a row, which is essentially just trying to capitalize off one single move in the market, not an up and a down and an up, just one single move, right? At support, at resistance, get out. anything from 3x to 20x, right? Which is very high risk. I'm not recommending that for inexperienced traders. And then you have a 30% trade on $100, then a 100% trade on 130, then a 40% on that. And then before you know it, you've got a significant trading portfolio to then put in the market for long-term investments.
Yeah.
So
a
I do
10
both.
10 trade compounding
Yeah.
challenge.
I mean,
And
I
did
couldn't
you
believe it. I couldn't
well,
believe it. When
yeah,
I was
I mean,
doing it, I was like, huh? That's amazing. Why have I been working my entire life? That's been
it's hilarious you said that because I tell so many people go online, type in compound interest calculator, play around with the numbers, just play around with it. It will blow your
Right.
mind every single time.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're dead right.
It's
Um,
kind of like the penny double for 30 days type of thing. Like it's
yes,
just
Yeah,
insane.
exactly.
it is.
Exactly.
It's totally mathematical, but our brains do not think in that way. So it always blows. It still blows my mind.
Yeah.
I find it hard to almost estimate if someone says, right, what if you made 10% per day on a starting balance of, say, $100 or pounds or whatever? I couldn't even give you the faintest clue. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Right.
it's yeah, but I mean that's pretty cool. Um, and how did that challenge go? You said okay, you weren't able to consistently replicate it. Sure, I mean it's high risk, but
I achieved it once.
initially,
I
yeah,
achieved it once. Um, it was my it's about a year ago, and it was mainly short trades.
yeah,
And which people in the crypto market, there's only one out of four. There's kind of four different scenarios in terms of the altcoin market moving, and so it's all about Bitcoin dominance again. Yeah, Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin dominance goes down. That's what you want. But all the other combinations aren't helpful. So if you think about that rationally, that means that there's really only one scenario where the market weather supports a bullish context for altcoins,
mm,
whereas there's three different scenarios which support a bearish. So why isn't everybody short trading,
yeah,
right? Because fear is such an easy thing to capitalize on.
yeah,
So it was mainly short trades, and it wasn't about making money. It was about testing myself and my discipline. And it wasn't it was a case of I'm going to do this trade, I'm going to plan it, I'm going to wait, and then I'm going to take a few days off. I'm not going to rush because when people have a good trade, you must know this. It's like you want to trade again. You want to make
yeah,
more. You want
yeah,
to get the next step on the ladder, right?
yeah,
I mean,
Right.
but
absolutely.
so for me, it was like an exercise in discipline. One
Mm,
trade, go and do yoga, go and sit on the beach for a few days, get your head straight, get your head properly so you can identify the market and do the next one. And that's the only way I could achieve it. Because ultimately, in the crypto market, due to the volatility, that volatility translates to volatility of emotion, which then translates to people chasing green or not exiting when they're in profit because I've got 150%, gains, but it could be 160, and then they
mm,
lose it all because of that lack of discipline. So
absolutely.
it was a test of discipline, not
Yeah.
profit making. It just turns out I happened to make some money.
Nice little side effect.
Yeah, nice little side effect.
Nice byproduct.
But you're absolutely right. I mean, discipline is concrete. It's funny every time we do these podcasts, no matter who we're interviewing, it always comes down to discipline, and I think the quicker people understand that it's not always so much to do with strategy. Stop hopping from strategy to strategy. You only need a
Mhm.
small edge to be profitable. Only a small one. Casinos only have on average, it's very low, maybe 1 or 2% at most, an edge against the players, and they rake it in. It's all about to do, it's all discipline based in the market, and I mean um that challenge that is it's a good way of learning discipline and definitely got some nice side effects if done correctly. I might actually give it a go.
Yeah, no, look, yeah, have a go. I mean, it's the thing is, what I discovered when trying to replicate it was, as you quite rightly said, it's just about an edge. But the second you stop following your own plan,
Yeah,
that's the only time I've ever lost money. Only
absolutely.
time. I mean,
Absolutely.
and that's what it's all about.
110%. That is, couldn't have said it better. Michael, I'm
Right.
sure you absolutely agree with that as well.
it sucks. And then afterwards, you tell yourself, how did I do that
Oh,
again? Yeah, it's
yeah,
insane. Like again, at WB Trading, the coaches, I try to drill that into their heads, and I'm like, listen, I understand why you're doing it, and I understand like the feeling, but trust me, this is a recipe for disaster. You're going down the wrong road. Okay,
yeah,
you gotta stay disciplined, right? Because even at the very like worst of it all, even if you have edge, if you don't have discipline, you can still lose at the end of the day.
exactly.
So it's just as important, if not more. Like all the time, I'm harping this day by day. Like you guys got to stay disciplined. Even in my own fund, right? We get clients every now and then before they even come in. I'm like, hey, this isn't one of those things where I'm taking 200 trades a week. Like that just doesn't happen. All right. Very highly selective with the setups. And we're taking about one, two, maybe three trades a week. If that's not what you're really looking for, this might not be a good place for you. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
I don't want to feel any type of outside pressure like, why are we taking trades? Why are we taking trades? Why are we taking trades? It's like, hey, do you want to take trades or are you trying to make money? Which one do you want to
yeah,
do?
Exactly.
Because they don't necessarily have to go together, right?
exactly. I think it comes down to dopamine or actually make money, essentially. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The dopamine
Some
hit
people
of
just want to
being
click
in
the
the
mouse.
market.
Yeah. They have to click the mouse like it's some video game or something. It's like that is not how this works.
It's like,
Exactly.
it's in the casino, isn't it? Just
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep going.
That is not how it works.
It's not.
absolutely. Paul, I want to ask you a few questions. What would you say is the biggest mistake new traders make in the crypto market? And this goes for Michael as well, by the way. It's not just Paul. Paul and Michael. Sorry.
Like, okay.
Well, Michael, go for it.
Yeah, yeah. I would say for me, crypto is one of those things where the barrier to entry is so low, and you don't have to be experienced at all to buy it, right? Or to do it. Like you can swap something, hear some sound bite, hear some friend or whatever. You're like, oh, what? What kind of coin is it? It's a what coin? Oh man, I'm gonna put my next check on it, right? Or or they go so big, like I'm sure you guys heard, like that last time when Bitcoin was approaching like the 100K mark, people were taking out mortgages on their house and buying as much Bitcoin as they can.
Yeah.
And it's like with no TA, no type of reasoning, just pure emotions. And like, I cannot believe you're not only thinking of doing that, but actually did that.
Mm,
Right. So I would say at its core is going too big too early, like too fast, just trying to without any knowledge. Like this is insane that some people would, go to such extreme amounts and lengths just to try to make $1 because in any other industry, any other circumstance, they would be the ones saying, "Are you crazy? I would never do that." But for some reason, with this, they lose all their logic. It goes out the window, and they go as hard as they possibly can.
mm.
So yeah, I would definitely say just going too big, too fast, too early, like before you even know anything. It's definitely mistake number one that I think beginning crypto investors make for sure, by far, hands down.
Yeah. I
Yeah, I mean,
agree.
it's this concept. Like, I always say to my students, as my mentor said to me, if you can't double $100, then you shouldn't be trading with more.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could list 101 things beginner trade. I don't. Traders is probably a strong word if you just reading what Elon Musk has just tweeted and then just chasing it. But it is chasing green, which is ultimately the biggest problem.
Yeah.
And it's the classic. You buy fear, right? And people don't do that. So when see the market crashing, I'm like, right, low
Yeah,
prices. This is good. But
Yeah.
they'll see Bitcoin, as you said, hitting 100K and be like, right, we're going to the moon. And I'm like, the market does this, right? I'm like, why aren't you waiting for the dip?
yeah. It seems logical, but it's not. And the crazy thing is, it's been going on since the beginning of the time. Even only back to, I don't know too much about it. I just know the quick scenario from the movie Wall Street 2. He talked about Tulip Mania. Gordon Gekko talked about it. Same exact thing. Same exact thing. People just see this, and again, they literally lose their minds.
Do you know what I think it is actually? Because look, the people wouldn't do that to like a stable commodity like gold or something. No one's gonna remortgage their house
Yeah,
and put it all on gold. Like
exactly,
they wouldn't do that, right?
exactly.
Probably be a safer bet in a weird way. But it's
Yes.
it's it's the sheer fact that I think Bitcoin is kind of the new kid on the block, right? The
Yeah,
possibilities, what we have seen. I mean, Bitcoin is the biggest missed investment opportunity of the century.
for
Nothing has,
sure.
gained like Bitcoin has ever gained, right? It's insane. You could have bought like $1 worth of Bitcoin back in, I don't know, 2013 or whatever, and you'd be, super rich right now, like millionaire maybe,
Right.
right? It's just insane. So I think people take that logic and they take it a bit too far, right? They think, well, if there's one asset or one instrument that could potentially just from from now till next week just go up 10x or something and hit huge numbers, it's going to be a cryptocurrency. So they almost
Yeah.
have too much faith in it, right? Without realizing
Hmm.
with high reward, there's always going to be high risk. And,
Yeah.
you
Dead
know,
right.
yeah. And I think that's what it is really, because you're right. Why do people, bet so big on especially money they can't afford to lose?
Well, the issue
Yeah.
is it's kind of like the lottery. I
Mm,
mean, it's the whole media thing about crypto is so far removed. And I'm talking about YouTube, I'm talking about the news, even mainstream media. They talk about it in such an I'm not I'm not trying to be horrible, but in an uninformed way
mm,
or a very manipulative way. So the big gains, like check out this currency, you can have like 20x or whatever, but that's that's not the reality which we're experiencing. And people need to understand the different types of trades, and they just don't. So people come to me and they're like, right, I just need one lesson, right? What's the secret? What's the formula? What's the token to buy? What's the one which is going to go at 20,000%? And I'm just like, I'll finish the lesson, but I know there won't be another one because they don't seem to realize that the opportunity of crypto. Right. I mean, the media thing, what I'm trying to say is that I'll read a news article talking about Bitcoin breaking all-time highs, and they'll be like, will it go up? Will they go down? With no mention of the halving or the supply and demand dynamics or the deflationary cycle, which can answer the questions that they're positing. They don't seem to understand. They talk about it like it's Apple stock or Tesla stock,
yeah.
right? And it's like it doesn't work that way. And I could tell you that Render is a great crypto in terms of use case, but if
Mm,
you buy it when it's 1,000% up, then you're gonna lose.
yeah.
And this is the problem. And I think until crypto is sold properly as a thing where you don't need to go to school, you don't need to go to university, you don't need a certificate to sit on the trading floor. That's your advantage of crypto.
Mm,
It's, that's the problem, I think, like you said, on top of what you said, it just creates this because you got to understand the scams take a part as well. I get
yeah.
students say, I've lost all this money on the scams and their perception of crypto is, well, I got scammed out of all my money
Yeah.
because I was
Yeah.
told if I give it, I'll double it. But then they come to me with the same premise. I want to double my money, show me how to do it. And I'm like, this mentality's got you into trouble you know,
Yeah.
that's the problem with crypto. And it needs sane people to say, stop doing this, right? Put in the
Yes.
time, learn the TA, learn how it works, and then slowly craft a second job which can maybe release you from a 9 to 5 in the future and hopefully some nice holidays, right? Some nice savings, and maybe if you're lucky, a boat.
There you go. Exactly. Very well
I
said,
like that.
Paul.
I really like that. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And that's why you're sitting, in that chair, as an expert, because you understand it's not as simple as bet big and fingers crossed. Hopefully, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
But I would like to talk about, a few tokens or coins in particular that it's quite funny because it's almost what you just said, how people come up to you and be like, which one shall I buy? But essentially, which Not which coins should you be buying, but which coins do you recommend keeping an eye on, or paying attention to this year? Which ones do you see could be interesting?
Well, the thing is with a lot of the tokens which are really hot,
Mm,
Fetch AI, which has had a bit of mergers over the last 6 months to a year, Render, RNDR, which has been rebranded. I mean, Render is just a tremendous because its use case in terms of video encoding on the blockchain is only going to become more important with AI, with all that technology, as well as just on top of just Hollywood studios using it to save on server costs. It's tremendous. VR, Victoria VR is a AI token in the space which like it was a company first, and it's got real partnerships with Apple and other things, and so it's not nonsense. It's got a use
yeah,
case. So I could carry on, but what people need to simply think of is if they're going to trade something which has no use case, like Pepe, dog with hat. I'm in dog with hat, but only a small amount because I recognize that the main coins just they will run, but if there's any problem in the market, they will just disappear and wipe out your assets. So you just need to look at where is the world going? What
mm,
are the use cases for technology now? Are we, it used to be DeFi, it used to be exchange tokens, but now and privacy tokens. Now it's and gaming tokens and all that kind of stuff and NFTs. Now it's switching to more practical AI uses. So just look at a token. Has it got a use case? Does it do something? Is it been around for a while? Has it got previous price action? That's what you need to look for. I could list 101 things you could look at as setups, but if you were looking to enter VR or render like 6 months ago, you haven't got a good entrance anymore.
yeah,
So people just need to find tokens which aren't a waste of space, perhaps have existed in the previous bull run, so you can see potentially the gains you're going to get if it revisits the all-time high to give you, as you said, that edge.
mm,
And it's stepping away from any one token. If someone's putting all their investments in one token, that's crazy,
yeah,
right? Because AI could just disappear. You saw what happened with the DeepSeek thing. The
yeah,
AI stuff tanks. So a bit of diversification in your portfolio is key, and stepping away from anything which people are saying is hot, right? Look for yourself. Always, it's about market cap as well. It's like, what gains do you want? You don't
mm,
want to have like a portfolio all in uber low caps, right? Because if the market tanks, you're going to get wiped out in a day. But what you do want is to give yourself the opportunity to make life-changing money by having small amounts in the low caps, which can really move in a bull run, like thousands of percent. But if it goes wrong, you've only put a small amount in, so it doesn't matter. Then you
yeah,
invest more in the mid to low to high caps, which are more difficult to tank because they're bigger. And then you get back what your investments you put in for your investment for your high and mid caps. And then the Hail Mary, the kind of the trump card, if you excuse the pun, is the uber low caps. Because if one of them goes, you've made life-changing money and you're okay. But
yeah,
you can't just be in that by itself
sure,
because you'll get wrecked. So you want to be in a position where all you need is two of your investments to go and you've made your money back and you're in profit.
right,
Um, and not rely on just Pepe or whatever's hot right now,
yeah.
because that's just a mistake.
So essentially, diversification is key across the crypto market. Like with all investments, I would say, I think diversification is always key. Um, and essentially, how much you're investing in each individual coin is dependent on, well, everything you just mentioned. So many factors. Uh, is it, I think you call them low cap and high cap, how volatile they are, or if they're right now, really hot. So that makes perfect sense again. You're placing your money in a way where on the higher risks ones, if it does go wrong, it's not too bad. You haven't put all your money in one or most majority of money on the high risk. And, you're kind of spreading your bets almost, in a way. I hate using gambling terminology, but essentially, yeah, you're spreading your bets across the table, very, calculated, to ensure that you don't get, well, wiped out. So That's actually very interesting. Michael, I don't know if you got anything to add to that.
Um, Very little. I mean, to be totally honest, I only got a few coins. One of my partner over at my fund, he's always talking crypto, always recommending stuff, saying what he bought. He's like, you should get a piece. You should get a piece. I'm like, okay, okay, I'll check him out. I hardly ever do. I'll be totally honest. He
Yeah,
knows this too.
yeah,
But no, as far as Ripple, I've actually was in XRP way back when we did hit $3. Believe it or not, guys, that was my very first, well, second, excluding Bitcoin, crypto that I bought that I actually got a piece of bread on. I mean, like 14K off that. I thought I was like, oh man, I'm gonna hold on to this forever. They kind of start slowly going back down. I remember selling it. I'm like, all right, I'm done with this. I've never been up this much on like crypto before. Let me just take
yeah.
what I got and I'm out. So that's all I got really got now, like over 12,000 coins. I'm just kind of holding those, hoping this whole AC it replaces this ACH thing and let that be the new quick way to transfer money. And in a small way, I'm just hoping that it's my life-changing crypto story. So besides that, I got a few Stella and pieces, like fractional pieces of some Bitcoin. Obviously, you always don't have that in a portfolio. Outside of that, I'm kind of just worried, worried about what to do. I'm just I'm like, hey, this day trading currency is working great for me. I'm not gonna overstep my boundaries here. I'm gonna just kind of play it safe with just
Yeah.
these for
No, hey, each to their own, I've tried day trading cryptos, well, Bitcoin to be fair. Um, and look, Bitcoin, I could see the potential in terms of day trading it, but I just felt more at home day trading the S&P 500, which is like my go-to
yeah.
place, right? And I think it's just because I started in that pretty much, right? That's
Hmm.
where most of, my trading activity. Sometimes I'll dip into gold and a few currencies, but generally it's always been the S&P 500. It's like my child, like
Yeah, I get
um
it.
but Bitcoin, look, I found it actually quite interesting day trading Bitcoin. It had this kind of I thought it would be really hectic. Like, oh, it's just going to be
Hmm.
insane. This is just volatility, no,
Yes.
no structure. Everything is just mental and chaos. But it was actually strangely very structured, right?
Hmm.
It was very structured in the way it moved.
Yeah.
It's just when it did move, it moved. It,
Yeah,
it,
just
it
like
really
gold
moved.
or US 30. Like US 30, gold, those can't move. And same here. Like
Yeah.
I actively look at Bitcoin every day. Like if it sets up for one of my five playbooks going long, I will never short Bitcoin. I'm not that crazy. But if it does set up going long, I'll gladly day trade.
Oof.
Like I gladly will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was a lot smoother, a lot less chaos, than I anticipated. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, I can ride this horse. This isn't too bad. It's not the
Yeah.
crazy horse that's gonna kick me off of it.
Literally that.
Same exact words.
Absolutely. Um, I'd like to ask though, and I guess this is probably more for because Michael, you kind of actually answered this question when you spoke about, your best crypto trade, which was 14K, right? Um,
Uh-huh.
Paul, tell us. I think the viewers would love to know what probably were, your best trading successes or represented even your best trading successes in crypto.
I think short day trading,
It could
nothing
be
crazy.
either.
But day trading, probably about 170%, nothing crazy, with a bit of leverage to put on there. Obviously, they're very high risk because we're capitalizing a single moves, but I mean, those kind of percentages tend to come from short trades,
Yeah.
when you're looking at a breakdown in a bearish market. But long-term investments, as I said, I mean, BNB was good. I mean, XRP last cycle, I think 10x that, a little less than you. But BNB was really good. I mean, it helped a
Mm,
lot of people last cycle because it just went to the moon. I remember just watching my portfolio, which I got in just a little bit early, so I was in a bit of a loss to start with just small amounts. But then when it went, I was just looking at it, it's like 20,000%. And so that was essentially 1K invested and 50K return, right?
yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just buying at the right time. This is what
Yeah.
people need to realize. If you just buy before everyone look at what the cycle is. I mean, for this time it was October 2023, but if you had bought, you ignored 2022 because that's the bear market, and then you had started planting seeds at the beginning of 2023, knowing the halving is 18 months away. That would have been so profitable for so many people, and it will continue to be. But most retail traders will just like they wait until the news is talking about it.
Yeah.
Bitcoin, and it's just too late, and that's ultimately the problem. I could sit here and say, I am the best trader in the world. I made this. It's like it's not true. I just had enough sense to look at the market,
Yeah.
figure out approximately where to buy in, and just did it. And then I learned after that how to trade. And that's what people need to understand. Patience is key.
Yeah. I think almost in a weird way it's common sense, right? But when people see money in front of their eyes or potential wins, common sense just goes right out the window. And
Yeah,
like you said, I don't know what happens to them. They start remortgaging their homes and
it's the
Why
crazy
craziest
stuff.
thing because they will,
why do
like
people
we
buy
said
lottery
earlier,
tickets? The same thing.
they'll gladly sell everything and throw it into Bitcoin. But I mean, logically speaking, if they were to just maybe throw it into the S&P, like you said, or maybe put it in like some ETF, something
Yeah.
except Bitcoin
The thing is,
because
look, I get it, right? You throw your money in the S&P 500, long-term investment. You expect it to
it's
get
not
maybe
sexy.
five,
It's not
six
sexy
percent a
enough.
year.
Yeah,
Five, that's not gonna, that's not gonna make
yeah.
someone feel great. It's great if you're already extremely wealthy and you have, lots and lots of money just to, tie up in the S&P 500. Great. But if you're someone who's, starting out, so to speak, I get it. Like, there's got to be more. You have to start day trading then.
For sure.
And crypto is that kind of, well, I don't need to learn necessarily all the hard technical analysis. I don't need to learn order flow. I don't need to learn, all this complicated stuff that, the pros do. I can just buy some coins and it should just, as you say, go to the moon and, I'll be rich. And that has happened. It has happened. Like there are a few lucky people it's happened to. But yeah,
But
it's,
the thing about that is, right, and that has happened, and it consistently happens.
yeah.
Whether it's with the whole GameStop thing or with
Mm,
Dogecoin originally when Elon Musk was talking about it. But the problem they encounter is they don't know when to sell, and they lose it all. And so many people have come up to me and said, "Look, I want to get back into crypto because I made like so much money, but then I didn't sell, right?" And this is the problem, and that's where TA comes in because you need to be able to spot that lower high or that lower low, and then understand. Then on the next upswing, you start to scale out, a term which people scaling in, scaling out don't seem to think of when they're frantically trying to register on for a Binance account so they
mm,
can dump their life savings, in Pepe or whatever. I don't know. That's the issue.
yeah. So, yeah, take a structured approach or just gamble essentially. Absolutely. So what would I guess for both of you, what would your advice be to anyone who is, right now thinking, I want to get into crypto, very new, I know nothing. Not just about crypto, I'm talking about, trading as a whole. I've never done stocks, never done FX, never done futures, never done options, never done crypto, but they want to get in. What would your advice be?
Michael, do you want to
So
kick us
I'll
off?
jump up first. Yeah. So just like anything else, right? Just first of all, I would preface it by saying I would tell them all the horror stories first, right? Let's start with the horror stories. For people who have lost everything, to the people who had it and didn't know when to get out, like Paul said, and lost with what they thought they made, right? And then I would sprinkle a little bit of this could happen, but that'll be the small success story. So give them a proper frame of mind first, right? And then
Mm,
I want to say, hey, you know what? The smart people, what they did, they learned the product first. Like, right? If you were to get hired at a job, you don't just get on the floor the first day and just start talking to people. You got to learn and get product knowledge first. If you were to become surgeon or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of work that goes into all of that. So this isn't anything different. There's work, right? And then you actually get it. So that whole learn and then you drop the L and then you earn aspect, that will be the approach for it all, right? And then you can kind of explain to the point where the money comes after you do this, not before. This is there's never been a time really where unless you hit the lottery or you're something like that where
Yeah.
that happens first. You put them you put the seed in the ground and then the harvest comes. The harvest doesn't come first. So this is
Yeah.
no different than anything like that. And the sooner the better you can wrap your mind around that, the better off you'll be. If you can't do that, we should go back to the beginning of the story that I just explained to you. You're going to be one of those people. Okay.
Absolutely.
Well said.
So
Well
true.
said.
I would like to, for people, I would like to just simplify it even further. And it's this, right? It's probably back to front, so it's not going to work. I'll do it now. So
Yeah.
when you're looking at a chart, right, you will see this shape, right? You'll see the bell curve.
Yeah.
Regardless whether it's the 5-minute chart, the 15-minute chart, or the weekly chart. All you need to do just to keep the probabilities in your favor is do not buy at the top. Buy here, sell here. If you can do that, and I know people can spot a curve, it's not complicated, right? Just do that and you'll make some money, right? That's it, because people just forget it, as you said. They'll buy it here and then ride that down. And it's just,
Yeah.
I mean, you say it's about common sense, but there's not much commonality about it.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Common sense, right? And I can agree with both of you more. There are the thing is, you hear always the big success stories, right? And I think it clouds a lot of people's judgments of you never really hear, well, you do sometimes hear the really bad horror stories, but you don't hear the kind of mid stories where people, all right, they didn't lose their entire life savings, but they lost a substantial amount of money. You never hear about these people,
Yeah,
right? You never hear just
yeah,
about the common man who bet too much and is struggling to, pay his mortgage or pay rent or whatever this month. Um, and there's a lot of them out there, and it's not crypto specific, it's across all markets, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're winning, someone is losing. That there's it's not an infinite money glitch. It someone
yeah,
has to lose in order for you to win, and vice versa. And I think people forget that dynamic.
Yes, the market is trying to take your money.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? People need to approach it like these people are better than you. They are trying to take your money, and unless you're better than them, they will win. And you have to just keep that in mind because then it will motivate you to put in the work to get closer and closer and closer. So then you eventually can take their money, and
yeah,
that's what
right,
you're trying to do.
yeah.
right.
We're all essentially, battling it out on the charts. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I would say, education is hugely important. Uh, whether you get a mentor, whether you self-educate yourself, whatever it might be, whatever route you take, you got to know, like Michael said, you got to know your product. And also you need to know that when you're looking at a chart, it's not just a random pattern, it's not just a random, candlesticks or line or whatever. It's telling a story, right? What you're seeing is the after effects of a battle essentially constantly going on. And it's our jobs to interpret what is actually happening here. Do you know what I mean? Read it as a story. These are real people with real money in the charts. Who's in pain? Who's happy right now and celebrating? You gotta read the charts in terms of the human side of it, not just a random magical pattern. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Don't run until before you can walk. Maybe don't bet your life savings. Um, simulated trading. Use demo accounts. I know it's not
Yeah,
you don't get to learn the emotional side too well, but once you can, get the rough basics going, right, jump on a live account, but put in. I'm talking stupid tiny amounts of money, right? Stuff that you
yeah,
wouldn't care about losing, and then slowly
right.
build your way up from that, and get used to losing as well. Get used to hitting that exit button, right? Or getting stopped out, because if you're not used to the feeling of, damn, that didn't work out, you might start revenge trading, or you might start doing the classic moving your stop lower and lower,
Yeah.
until it just margin calls you or whatever. Um, but yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, I always tell traders too. They're like, the demo doesn't the same. I can't feel it. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, you want to feel it? Do this. Put $100 in your account. Okay, put 100 in there, and trade it, because that way it gives you a little bit of something. It's not demo and it is a live account. And when you blow it, just imagine you just put a few zeros on there. That's how much you would have lost.
mm.
And if that hurts, it can hurt much worse.
Yeah. And the other thing
Right.
is, I mean, it's like you, I've just started teaching my girlfriend how to trade.
Mm.
And she had a position, she was trying to scoop up the bottom just as we had that crash
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago. But she had a solid risk management. She got out on the bearish retest at no loss. But the point is, she was only trading with $25.
Mm.
And I said to her, look, you and because she said, oh, it's only $25. I don't need to worry about risk management. I'm like, no, 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 no. You need to trade $25 like it's 25,000,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
once you start scaling up, you won't have the skill set to trade 25,000.
Yeah.
So that's the point people need to realize, that if you look at your $25 you're trading with, it's sensible because you're new, but you've got to treat it like it is everything, because you will
Hmm.
never get the right practice and you'll never get the right discipline in order to achieve. But the final thing, I suppose, is it's not that complicated, the market. You simply need to start every potential trade or investment with this, whether it's Forex or whatever, the S&P, it doesn't matter. Where are the buyers?
Hmm.
Where are the sellers? And if you just think of that, you'll do fine. But so many people just don't even ask them that basic question. And the
Yeah.
answer is usually quite obvious.
Yeah. Absolutely. And this is exactly what I meant, like, where are the buyers? Where are the sellers? It's not just a random chart. There's a story behind it. You have to look at it and actually, what is it telling me? Don't just, oh, look, green, buy. Like,
I love that. It is a story. You're absolutely right. That's a great example.
thank you, thank you. A few more questions, and I'll let you go. And I'm taking a lot of your time up here, but this is a really good conversation. Um, why do you think Bitcoin is the king of crypto? Is it because it was, the first cryptocurrency? Could it be because, it was actually was used as, especially on the dark web, back in the days it was used. I'm pretty sure it's still used for that, but to actually, well, exchange money, buy and sell certain products. Um, or could Bitcoin one day be overtaken by a different cryptocurrency? Why is Bitcoin still the king?
Well,
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot this one right on over to Paul. I was gonna say, because it was first, it was its infancy. People just jumped onto it, and now it's so big that it can't be stopped at this point, and that snowball is still sliding down that mountain. That's
Mm.
that's what it appears. Because you think that nowadays there's other coins with more useful value, like
Oh yeah.
than Bitcoin. So logically speaking, it should be stuff that's bigger than that, but it's not. So it's something about the Bitcoin. I don't know if it's the name, maybe the branding is awesome. Like it's something about it, right?
it's just
Nothing
the
sounds as
name.
cool as
It's such a great name.
It is. It is.
I think that's so true. It is true. The first to everything typically. I do believe Ethereum will probably overtake at some point.
Okay.
Um, but Bitcoin is king ultimately because it's unique, the inflationary model. That's it. I mean,
Mm.
Ethereum has a use case because it operates essentially the other cryptos on the blockchain and then it facilitates transactions, but it is completely different in principle to Bitcoin. Whereas other altcoins, use case or otherwise, they're just like stocks to buy in a company you like. Bitcoin isn't that. It is a
Yeah.
machine, an unstoppable, well, until quantum computing ruins the party, it is an unstoppable machine which every 4 years, economic crisis or otherwise, will be pushing for higher prices. Will we see $1 million Bitcoin as long as it doesn't get hacked or the world gets blown up? Yes, for sure. And that is ultimately why it's king, because of that fantastic, unique response to the 2008 financial crisis. It's like, enough is enough. Wall Street, go away. This is how we do it. Let's go. And as we all feel, buying it when it was like a few cent, the biggest mistake all of us made.
If I had a time machine.
Yeah.
If only I had a time machine. But look, this is the funny thing. Like genuinely, say hypothetically, I don't know, did buy Bitcoin at a few cents or whatever, right? I don't think I would still have the Bitcoin today. I think I would have sold the moment it hit $100. This is the reality. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no way at the time I would have thought, yeah, this is going to hit 100K in, 15 years or whatever. Absolutely no.
There's a very specific scenario. There's a chap in this country who is in a battle with a local council over a landfill. You may
Yeah.
have heard of this.
Yeah, of
And
course.
he lost
Yeah,
his
I've
hard
heard about
drive
it.
with the key, and he's desperate to get it back. And I'm like, I feel like those scenarios are the only way people made any real money from buying it for a few cents. Because, like you
Yeah.
said, once it gets to the price of a pizza, they're going to sell it because, oh my God, I
Yes.
mean, that's great returns. But it's like you just have to. You should have bought it in 2009 and 10, lost it, and then found it again. That's the
Yeah.
only way, I think. Because I mean, who has that foresight? Who has
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
It was just
No.
it exceeded expectations,
Yeah.
beyond expectation. Like, and normally, I'm the type of person who I like to have very realistic expectations. So I know there's no chance, no chance I would have ever
Yeah.
held it to any significant amount. So, but
I think God himself would have sold his Bitcoin. Like, seriously, it's just no way that he can hold on, right? No
yeah,
one
no,
had the skill set that they have. You might have it now and know that it can happen. If that was to happen again, then yeah, more than likely you probably could hold on to it.
yeah,
But first time that that ever happens in the entire world, no, 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 no. Like Paul said, you would have to lose it and find it again to still have it.
absolutely, absolutely. And last question, and this would be aimed more to you, Paul, since I believe you mentor people in cryptocurrency trading, correct? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
just before this, yeah.
what's the biggest issue you generally encounter when teaching people how to trade? And I guess that could go for Michael as well, because you do the same, not crypto specific maybe, but still it's transferable skills, so to speak, right? So whoever
Michael,
would
you
like
go
to,
first.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Michael,
So
yeah. So the
yeah,
question again
yeah.
is, what's the biggest issue you encounter when teaching people to trade or how to trade?
I would definitely say, to be totally honest, it's the patience part. It's not even the learning. I have students who show up every day that ask great questions. They do the homework. I mean, everything. They do a lot of what we teach. But it comes down to the heat in the moment. It's almost that whole, yeah, everyone knows what to do when they knows how to fight until you get in the ring with Mike Tyson punch in the face. Whatever that terminology is. Like, yeah, everything seems right. It seems cool. You know what to do all the way until it's time to lock in and pull that trigger and click that mouse. Then all of a sudden it's, whoa, 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 wait, what? What? So what do we? Oh, now we got a million questions over stuff that we already went over, right?
Mm.
Or we can't take that trade because it doesn't meet all of our parameters. It's so close. I just wanna click it anyway. Go right ahead. I'm not taking it because that doesn't. We're gonna lose on that, right? And then you get to the point where they do take, like, I'm gonna just take a small piece. And then
Yeah.
later that day, when they get stopped out, the next day it's like, so how'd that trade work out for you? Yeah, it didn't even go. It didn't go for me. Yeah, did you learn your lesson? I think so. I see why you say that now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So let's get back to the basics, right? But it is always that patience part, that discipline. I truly, truly believe that that the psychology and the mindset in the trading space is just not preached upon enough, because
Mm.
you can have the edge, you can have the risk management, you can have uh, the TA skills, you can show up every day. if you don't have that overarching mindset that encompasses discipline, patience, things like that, it still won't work. So it doesn't matter how much you show up and what you do, what homework you do, none of that. If you can't get that mindset, if your mind's not right, this won't work. All right. That's what I always say. You got to get your mind right first.
Perfect.
I mean, I
Perfect.
agree with all of that completely. And it's obviously, it all boils down to patience and planning. But the biggest thing I have is getting them to chart, right? Because I have a no chart, no trade policy. I mean, because it's like trading blindfolded. I don't
Oh yeah.
understand.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and just they won't. We've all been there. We've all been messing around with Coinigy or TradingView. Like, is it the Wix or is it But just do it. It's not a problem if you bring me a chart and it looks like a dog's dinner. I don't care, but I want to see a chart, right? I can't help you if you don't give me a chart. There's one guy, great guy. He had clearly a lot of insight into like liquidity pools and whale movements and how to track them, kind of advanced level stuff he should have been looking at after a 4-year learning process. So, and he could have made some serious money. But when I tried to explain to him, like I asked him, "What's your plan? Right? Where's your chart? What's your plan? Where's your entry? Where's your exit?" He couldn't answer, and I'm like, "So what are we doing?" So organization
Yeah.
and a chart before anything. Full stop.
Common sense again, right? No, absolutely. And I think I'll just to add to that, there is no magic. And what I mean by that, so many people I've noticed, especially when because I've taught a few people how to trade and stuff. I'm not running a school or anything, but people I know in my personal life I like to teach. And I'll teach them my strategy and stuff, and they get it in their head, it has to be 100% right all the time. Do you know what I mean? Because they think there's something magical about it, that if they spot whatever, my strategy is, that there will be some magical, I don't know, like it has to work because that's what Sam said, but like that's not how, there is nothing magical,
Yeah.
it's just a probability. Yes, if in certain at a certain time, if you see exactly what I outline, there's a higher than usual chance it's going to work in your favor. But if it looks like it's not working in your favor, get the hell out. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's no magic. It's not going to magically, always work. And I think people do that with a lot of strategies. It doesn't matter what it is. They might, you know, um, say Fibonacci or something. Like it has to reverse, at one of
No,
the
no, it doesn't.
Fibonacci level. It
It does
doesn't.
not.
It doesn't have to.
No, you can do whatever
It
it
might
wants to
do,
do.
but
But
it
it's the
doesn't have to.
618. I don't understand. It should have
Yeah.
reversed. What? The thing is, right,
Exactly that.
when I say to traders, and I say to them, 80, 80% of your profits will come from 20% of your trades. It kind of
Mm,
blows their mind. Like what you're saying about not wanting to make mistakes. The only way to succeed is to be able to enter a trade and have a plan to exit at no or minimal loss and live to fight another day for the trade which does make you money, which then puts you into profit. And
yeah.
they can't get their head around that. And it's the hardest
Right.
thing. And I get it. But that's ultimately what crypto trading is. It's about probabilities, not getting profits all the time, but using the volatility to your advantage.
Yes. Yes. And don't quit your job as well. You know, don't think
Yeah,
you're gonna make it just because you need that, that income that pays your bills so that you can ever have a chance of emotionally overcoming trading. Because if
For
you're
sure.
relying on trading and that's your last hope, I feel for you. Because if you manage it, oh wow, you are you're something else. Because I've never seen
yeah.
someone manage that. The
Don't
emotion
trade
is
for
too
rent.
high.
Don't trade for paying the bills because you're going to attach emotion to that already, and you're
Yeah.
screwed. So make your money, save your money, build your skills, and then when you have done it and you've achieved, then consider quitting your job, right? But honestly, just
Yeah.
people, people, there is a diamond in front of them to take if they put in the work, right? For
Mm,
sure, right? But there's no shortcuts. There just isn't.
absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, I think we'll wrap it up there. It's been a really, really good talk, and I've learned a lot. I'm sure the viewers have learned a tremendous amount from everything you've told us, Paul and Michael as well. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you both for coming on. Yeah,
Thanks for having
it's
me.
been great.
It's been great.
Thank you, guys. And we'll definitely do this again. Because there's a million questions I can ask. So we'll definitely be back. We'll definitely do it again. So everyone watching, hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment, share it with your friends, do all that good stuff. Join our Discord channel. We're really, starting to put a lot of time in the Discord, and there's some great stuff coming. And generally speaking, the people in the Discord, they hear about it first. So if you want to have that little bit extra edge, join the Discord. There's definitely a lot of gold nuggets being dropped there on a daily basis. I want to thank Michael and Paul again for joining us.
Of course.
Yeah, we'll see you again very soon. Take care. Thank you.